Hi all, welcome to what I would perceive as the Marquee Matchups basics. Basically, I've been asked by a lot of folk on Twitter and YouTube and also on Discord basically to kind of explain why I pick the matches, what I do and how I kind of find them and so forth. So if you can smash like, awesome, sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter, G is a legend. All the links are down below for playlists in the channel and social media links as always. So I'm going to show this week's options and kind of explain them how we go from there, guys. So basically, our first option that I quite fancy this week is Manchester United versus Tottenham. So the reason that came about is obviously because it's a big game in the perception of the league. It's a top 4 clash in perception now because Spurs have been the last few years in the top 4 and Manchester United have been kind of title winners for that many seasons. And basically you would look for the Manchester United players that are kind of cheap but also kind of logical for maybe the requirements that they may set. So I've got English players, so I've got like my suggestion would be like your Ashley Youngs, Carricks, Rojo, Blind, these kind of players. They're not too expensive. Lingard as well. Tottenham, you've got like Llorente, you've got Sissoko and Kudu, so you're kind of covered on those bases. With the AIK Göteborg game, guys, that is like one of the big region derbies in Sweden. For me, I would personally have yourselves buying up the gold first and foremost, and then trying to buy a mix of nationalities, Swedes and so forth. But the reason why I quite fancy this as an outside punt is because just now they've been doing 2 big games and 2 small games. Now in terms of the small games this week, this seems to be one of the actual proper derbies that is about there. The other alternative of the derbies that will not feature but is a recommendation is Zurich versus Basel. But whether that features or not is a different matter. This one I feel more confident about, but it's still, in terms of options, it is still quite hard to get prepared. Now, the second big game that I quite fancy this week, if they were to go for it, is Panathinaikos Olympiacos. It's like the derby of the eternal enemies. It's an absolute. This is probably the biggest derby in the world next week, and you'd almost say to yourself, if it's not featured, but also because of the teams, you'd say, well, when are they ever going to pick it? They might not wait, they'll maybe wait till after the year when they play the return fixture or something, or they'll maybe wait till, say, AEK Athens and Olympiacos face off or whatever. But for me, when you do these kind of routes, I would buy up all the golds in the league, and then buy up a number of the Greek players, and then buy up a handful of the nations. Smart option as well is buying Siba, the left mid. He's the only rare in the league. He might be an option required. With the Bundesliga this week, guys, there's 2 strong options. You've got Freiburg versus Stuttgart, which is the actual derby. It's the Derby des Schwaffen or something like that. I've still never been able to pronounce it, guys, as good as my German is, which is kind of bad. And Bayern versus Leipzig. But Freiburg Stuttgart is the derby. Bayern Leipzig is the big game in the league this week. But Freiburg Stuttgart, well, both teams aren't the biggest. It is a derby. For me, you'd be looking at guys like Ravet. He's probably the one guy that everyone will go for. Then Nils Pedersen as well up top. I've got quite a few Freiburg players, but the right mid was the only one I didn't have at the time. Stuttgart, like Ginczek, Terode, these kind of players, the strikers, and then Beck as well. There's plenty to work with Stuttgart and Freiburg respectively. Now the one that I fancy personally from a small option perspective is Hibernian versus Hearts, because it's kind of my local derby. And it is such a hotly contested affair. For me, I would be buying the golds of like Dembele, McGregor, Sinclair, Griffiths. You'd try and buy the golds first, and Bruno Alves, don't buy him because he's pretty much expensive and hard to. He's not the easiest to get. And then for like the Hibs and Hearts players, you'd be looking at like Whittaker, McGinn, Slivka, Cowie, Aaron Hughes, Stokes, whoever there is that's between both teams, and then you'd try and buy amongst the league as well. And you'd want to build a team that's at least, I would say, 70 rated. And then the final route of the week that I really quite fancy is Boa Vista versus Porto. This is another big derby in Portugal. It doesn't always get heavily appreciated, I think, from the guys from like the UK, for example, but it's a big derby in Portugal for what I understand. My way about this, guys, I would be buying the rares, like Ruiz, Welfon, even Corona. You'd probably got to go as high as him. Like the guy at right back, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Rafa. There's plenty between both teams, as long as you get the Boa Vista players in, because they're the silvers, so you'd want to nab them in all honesty. But I hope you find this useful, guys. Gives you a bit of basics and a bit of understanding about this and why I pick what I do. But if there's any questions at all, guys, let me know in the comments down below, and I will try and answer them as best I can. So smash the likes as always, sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter at GZLegend. Any questions guys, as I said, let me know and I will catch you guys all later.